Today I am recording our last episode for season 3. I cannot believe this is season 3 and it's now coming to a close for the year. It is just mind-blowing. I remember starting this podcast as just an idea during COVID, during lockdown, and now, 4 years later, basically, this is what's happening. And I am just so grateful for everything that this podcast has offered. And I just can't believe this is the last one for this season. So let's dive in. As we were going through the podcast episodes and just going through our schedule with both McKenna and Danny and myself, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we are now done season 3. It's just been a wild ride this season. We got so many of my guests on that I had on my wish list. The goals I had of some of the entrepreneurs I wanted on, and we got them on and we had great conversations. We learned so much. I just felt so inspired on so many different levels. We had just such meaningful conversations. I feel like each season we almost go deeper and deeper in the conversation. And I think that has to do with a lot of things. I think my understanding in business, the growth we've gone through with both Muskoka Beauty and Muskoka Aesthetics, and also the podcast. I feel like a lot of our entrepreneurs have podcasts themselves, which makes it really easy for that flow of conversation. But I think the questions that we are asking and also the requests that we're getting from our listeners on some of the conversations to have with our guests, I think are very helpful. Sometimes I just never know where to go with the conversation with a guest or even a solo, honestly. Solos were kind of something we did by mistake last season because I could not get enough guests each week and record. So we kind of just started filling in the gaps with these solos. And the solos have given myself kind of that voice, and I think it's kind of like journaling for me and seeing how far we've come from the first solo I ever did to now, and just kind of goal setting and kind of being just vocal on the things that I want to see and visualize without realizing sometimes I record these and I'm like, oh yeah, people actually listen to them. And I think I'm just trying to be as vulnerable in myself through each one of these. And same with our guests. I think the more vulnerable and real you are when you're interviewing someone, the more passion and empathy you have for them. And it just creates such a real, beautiful conversation. And I think one of my episodes that I really went deep in from the first time I recorded with her was actually Kimber James, the owner and founder of Borboleta. And we had kind of a very nice conversation the first time. She was absolutely wonderful. Absolutely love her. But I think I was so starstruck the first time I interviewed her that I just was recording and almost forgetting that I was also interviewing her at the same time because she's so well spoken. And then this time we really dove deep into the pros and cons of starting your own company with products. And we were just so real and raw in that conversation. And if you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend it. Whether you're a beauty entrepreneur or not, I think it's just such a good founder story and how far she's come. But I think it's also the realization of entrepreneurship and the shit we do go through. And it's okay, because even you could be a multi-million-dollar business and you're still going to have those feelings. You're still going to have those ups and those downs. And some of the other conversations, with Haley Bogart, for example, at HB Face, we had such a great conversation about the struggles with COVID, having a brick and mortar location in Toronto, and then starting a whole other brick and mortar location in Toronto during COVID. So opening something and really starting to raise money and really start to grow your business as a female founder and getting capital and investments to be able to grow to that next level. And that's something I feel like we don't talk about or celebrate enough, especially as female entrepreneurs, is capital, raising money, getting funds, being able to have those hard conversations. She had mentioned, getting up and pitching your business. You are selling yourself 110% during those pitches. And you watch Dragon's Den and you see that, but that's sometimes just the highlight reel. You're not actually seeing some of the things that are going on in those pitches. And yeah, it's just it's just mind blowing. It's just absolutely incredible. We did interview quite a few international people this year, which was great too. Actually, a lot out of the States, which was very surprising. A lot of them were either requested or forms that came in that people wanted to be on the podcast. And I just love it. Honestly, like I love doing the comparisons of like the different things that go on in the different countries, even provinces. Like there's a lot of regulation changes in the beauty industry, even here in Canada. So just learning a lot. And what I really loved too is we had people on that were product-based businesses, service-based businesses, technology companies. We had a lot of software companies on again this year. And it's just something that I hope is gaining traction with you as our listeners and making sure that I'm honestly giving you enough that you feel satisfied listening to the podcast and making sure that you're getting enough variety. I feel like sometimes I get really tired of listening to like the same podcast all the time because it's just like a broken record or the person's brought up the same thing multiple times. And I do like to give reference to different podcasts or to different books I'm reading because I think that also is what creates such a creative mind and really develops your kind of intellect of where you see yourself as a person, as an individual. I really think it's just, I don't even know, words don't even describe podcasting, honestly. Like, I feel like if you're thinking about wanting to do a podcast or even start like a YouTube channel or anything, or even like a series on your Instagram or TikTok, I think you just need to do it. Honestly, like I wish I started podcasting when I had the idea. Are you looking for the perfect beauty gift bundle this holiday season? Well, Muskoka Beauty is here to help. Whether you're a spa or salon looking to retail these items and or a consumer wanting to gift this to loved ones, we are here with our best-selling Lash and Brow Enhancing Serum, which is lash extension safe, cruelty-free, vegan, made here in Canada and female founded, paired with our collagen under eye treatments. These are one of our best sellers as well, with amazing results, hydration, perfect for this time of year. Now we thought, why not do a gift with purchase? So when you purchase our holiday bundle, you are paying $79.99 just for the serum, and then you're getting a free 10-pack of our collagen eye treatments. This is the best bundle. Anything to do with your eyes, lightening, brightening, lengthening, treating any of the beautiful things we can do to just, rejuvenate for this holiday season and give a gift that people are going to love. Now, whether you're a spa or salon, make sure you jump on our wholesale program at muskoka.com to save 50% off site-wide and get these items to retail before the holiday season. And it is so easy. This is why I don't record my solos on video, because literally my fish is in the oven right now. I'm cooking dinner in the oven. I'm sitting on my couch. My dog's chilling beside me, and I'm literally recording this on my recording app on my iPhone. And then I send it over to Danny via email. She edits it on Buzzsprout, and then we're basically live. And I think it's just sometimes it's kind of like marketing and it's about advertising and business. Like sometimes we just overthink things. And that's been a huge part of my personal growth, I think, is just diving in. Literally just try it. If you fail, you fail. And sometimes I hear this quote all the time, like, oh, I boss babe too hard, right? Like, I feel like sometimes I do that and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a lot more than I expected. But I think you can dial it back or you can dial it up, right? Like there's always seasons in life that you need different things, right? Like during COVID, I couldn't do what I loved. I couldn't provide services to my clients. I was just kind of getting things organized with our retail business online, but I needed to have meaningful conversations with people. And I knew I needed to have a voice in this for the beauty industry. I knew I needed to speak on the behalf of other entrepreneurs that needed to have meaningful conversations. And with the network that you create in podcasting, it is just limitless, honestly. If you get a message or a DM that someone wants you on their podcast, how flattering is that? I think that's just like the best feeling in the world, that someone wants to hear your voice. They want to be able to hear your story. And like I said, if you're thinking about starting any type of vlogging or video content, podcasting, I think you have to do it. Honestly, like I said, I wish I started when I had the idea of podcasting, but I didn't know where to start. There wasn't really any podcast. Like I think I listened to Boss Babe with Natalie Ellis. That was like my only podcast I really listened to and understood. And now I feel like I have so many podcasts I listen to. Even John and I, like we have podcasts we love sharing together and we love listening to together. And it's just so important, I think, as an outlet. Sometimes we don't have time to sit and read a book, or sometimes we don't want to listen to an audiobook. We actually want to like learn something about something. And I think with social media too now, like I get influenced so much by podcasts because my algorithm, I see or I hear these like amazing quotes of guests that might have been on someone's podcast or stories that just like lit them up. And it's just like what has absolutely transformed their life. And all of that from long form content. And we can't really do that with certain type of content, right? Like we can't share our story and really dial into what something truly means to us, or why we did something a certain way, or giving advice or checklists that people need to go through, or learnings that they learned through their entrepreneur journey. And I think that's what I love about podcasting is you really get to know somebody on a different level, and you get to really openly, candidly have conversations with them. Even when I've had some of my dear friends on the podcast and I thought I knew everything about them, but then actually listening and actually interviewing them, I learned so much from them. And everyone has something to offer, even for yourself. I think that's something that I sometimes have to reflect, especially with the solos, is like, oh, what am I going to record this week? Like, I don't feel like I have anything to say, or I don't feel like I could teach somebody something, or what kind of struggle am I going through right now that I wish I knew before this happened? And sometimes Danny and I have to do kind of like a brainstorming session together to get some of my ideas out there. And yeah, it's sometimes mind blowing of what you can actually come up with when you sit and think about it. You might be an expert in a field and not even realize how much you actually know about it. And even if you're really creative, or you have a hobby or a niche that you absolutely love, I think you should run with it. Just go with it, truly. In some of the conversations, like I said, like sometimes people would talk about something and I'm like, actually, I know quite a bit about that. And that has nothing to do with the industry I'm in, but that's okay, right? That makes us well-rounded people. And I also feel like that can make you such a great interviewer or a host on a podcast, because you're really starting to become this wealth of knowledge, and you will just kind of, I don't know, like retain content and information that you never thought in a million years you could retain. Like I remember sitting in school listening to the teachers and I'm like, oh God, I don't remember any of this. But then I get a beauty entrepreneur on, or a product-based entrepreneur, and I'm like, oh my gosh, tell me everything. Where do you get these things done? Or well, how do you get your labels made? And what's your shipping operations like? Like, I want to learn it all. And that's what I hope this podcast does for you. And I am so excited for season 4. I don't exactly have a start date yet on when that's going to be happening, but make sure you're following us on Beauty Behind the Brand, or Beauty Brand Podcast, on Instagram. And yeah, we've got like so much exciting things happening for 2025. I also feel like that's why we kind of have to slightly put the podcast on hold with just like the businesses taking off. If you haven't listened or heard, we did move all our Muskoka Beauty, our product line, to a fulfillment center. So that is a huge jump for us. I was having to fill all the orders manually myself, and it was just becoming too much. We were getting totally scaled out of our little garage we were working out of, our mini warehouse, and also just with shipping fulfillments and things we needed to do. It was just insane. It was becoming like a full-time job in itself. And all the trips I had to make to the post office every day. And even with the spa, we have such an incredible team. We have so much to offer. It's just limitless, truly, of where we can grow and scale. And I feel the podcast, honestly, is like such a passion project, and it just gives me such, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like a light. Like, it's just like everything I love and have created into one. It's the product line business. It's the spa business. It's my intuition and love for the beauty industry and entrepreneurship, all into one. And I'm so grateful for every single one of you who listen, who have sent us messages, who have given us reviews, who have suggested topics we should touch on, even guests that they've recommended or sent us emails. Like, I cannot thank you enough. We have built such a fun educational community around this podcast. And I hate when seasons end, because it's just like, it's come to a close, but it's also like a new chapter. We're moving on to our next chapter, season 4. And season 3 has been like everything and more. It's just, like I said, it's like we've literally got all of my guests on that I wanted for this season. And it's just been incredible. We've like literally scaled up on so many so many goals on this podcast, and even the downloads, like there was a couple times I had to like refresh and I'm like, am I seeing these numbers right on Buzzsprout of seeing the amount of downloads we had? Like I just can't believe how much we've grown this season. And I just keep saying I am so grateful, and I truly am. Even for Danny, I cannot thank her enough for listening to my voice every time she has to edit one of these. Hopefully I don't make her edit too much, but I know even when guests are on, I know she truly loves editing the podcast. I know she loves the production part of it, of all of the organization of like the social media and getting the clips and just like the excitement of learning and growing. And I think that's why I absolutely love the team we have, is everyone's so on board and so excited for the next things to come. And I just, I can't say enough of how much Danny has motivated me and made me want to just keep going with this podcast. She has made it such an easy transition. And same with McKenna. McKenna has helped a lot with our social media. She's done all of the reach out, all of my Zoom calls organization, making sure everyone's on board and able to schedule and keep things so organized on the back end. You cannot build things without a team. And that is something that I can say over and over again. Even like I always say, one of the best and the most important things you can do is to have a bookkeeper. And I think that's so important. But I think having a general team that you know has your back and they're in the background being your cheerleader, just speaks volumes. And I can't thank everyone enough. Our team, our listeners, all of our guests we had on. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and love you all. And we will chat very, very soon. So thank you everyone for everything that you do. Keep loving this podcast. Even if we aren't posting recently, just make sure you share it with other friends that could gain something from this podcast, a learning you may have. Just keep growing and doing what you do best in this beauty industry. Love you all. Thank you so much.